Hello and welcome. My name is Lynn, and I'd like to introduce you to a couple of new products that will be hitting the Cat Scrappiness website. So I have here 3D Snow Gel, and this is fantastic. This is going, both of these products will actually give you different ways of creating a snow effect on your cards, on your mixed media projects, on maybe home decor, whatever you'd like to use them. It's going to be really fun, and they both differ a little bit in the final result and how it looks. So let me read you a little bit right off of the label just so that you can see straight from the manufacturer what you'll be getting. So 3D Snow Effect Gel is a semi-transparent paste with marble particles and glitter, used to create a texture with 3D effect on paper, canvas, fabric, cardboard, wooden surfaces, foam, plastic, MDF, and other primed surfaces. So imagine maybe with your shaker kits applying some of this snow gel right onto your shaker kits. And so lovely that it can be applied onto so many different substrates. Apply with a spatula or brush. The gel is very flexible, dries fast, and is easily painted with water-soluble inks and dry paints. After drying, the gel creates a hard texture which keeps form and does not peel off. So perfect. Then we have this, which is very different. This is called Deco-Topping. It's also marbled, and it's called First Snow. Really, really amazing because, let me show you what they mean by marble, because it's not all the same color throughout. You can kind of see there's some particles that are just seems like a hint of maybe pink, um, some darker spots in there. So really like snow, because you wouldn't um, ex expect snow to all be pure white as it falls on the ground. Um, so this is really great because, as you can see, it's a dry product. It's very granular. And what's fantastic about it is that this won't go bad on you. So this is going to have basically an indefinite shelf life because there's nothing to really make it go bad. This, however, now that it's open, um, I don't know for certain how long it's going to last, what kind of shelf life you get, but as with any sort of paste or medium, there's always the potential that once it's been exposed to air, it will eventually dry. It may take a good long while, and I'll show you why, because this is fairly liquidy. But let me read you off of the label from this, just so that you can get an idea of what the packaging says. It says to decorate any surface by creating additional texture and volume, create unique backgrounds and effects. Directions. Apply as a powder on glue, acrylic paint, or texture paste. You can also mix it with mediums and pastes and apply through a stencil with a spatula. Shelf life is unlimited. See, it even says it on the packaging. So really fantastic this. So basically, to use this, you just want to apply it to any kind of medium. So any sort of glue that's going to hold it. So I've just got some scrap black cardstock. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead. There we go. So you can see it. Let me show you one way to use the snow gel. So if you have a glue bottle with a nice fine tip, one thing that you can do is you can just write with it. So let me just spell out snow. And so you can just have fun with this. Imagine if you were making some tags for the holidays, you could spell out a person's name. And you've got plenty of time before this dries. All you want to do, and I'll just use the little bit that's in my tray here. The Cat Scrappiness shop has a great funnel tool. I just ordered it, so it should be on its way to me. But that would really be fantastic for something like this because it's a nice little container. that it has a nice broad opening, but then at the end there's like a little funneled opening that's smaller, and it'll make it really easy to get the leftover to just tap that off and get that right back into your container. So all I have to do is just knock off the excess, so whatever didn't stick to the adhesive that I put down, you can just reuse. You can put that right back into your container. So I'll just tap on the back here just to look how well that sticks, and then look at that texture. Is that not amazing? And the thing is, let's say I see that part of the word snow here, maybe it's a little thin there. So all I need to do is just maybe add a little drop of glue there and get a little pinch of our Deco-Topping. And there you can see I've kind of evened that out some. Really, really easy to work with that. So if you have things like your mousses, your texture paste, you can sprinkle this right on top. Or if you have like a colored embellishment mousse, for example, you can mix this into the mousse and give it a texture, but then it'll take on the color of your mousse. So you don't necessarily have to use it just as the snow effect. But the other way that you can use this, if you don't want to apply it where it's glued down, can you hear that? I think this would make for really great shaker fill as well. So you could, if you were making maybe a little snow globe shaker, you can pour this in and use this as shaker fill too. So you don't always have to use this glued down to something or mixed into another medium. You can use it as it is in its dry form. So there's that. And so now let me show you the 3D glue gel. So that's another fun one, and it's going to give you a snow effect, but a pretty different look. And what I'll do is I will show you what it looks like in the pot. So there's that, and you can use a brush if you want. You can use a spatula to apply this. So I will go ahead and grab a spatula. If I can find one, I'll just use this. Okay, so here's the consistency. So it might be a little bit liquidy for using a stencil, except if you tack down, maybe use a little pixie spray, because this could kind of seep under your stencil. You just want to be careful. Or you can sponge this on through your stencil. So that's an option too. It's fairly thick, but then there's I think that's because there's a lot of glitter and other things giving it texture that is suspended in the paste. But the paste itself is a little bit fluid. So I would give this a good mix just so that you have a good kind of even mixture. And then you can just apply this however you'd like. So whether through a stencil or just straight onto your project. So I'm going to grab a little bit and I'm going to apply this thinly, because you can go thin with it. And I don't know if you can hear it, but can you hear the scraping? That's because there's some texture in there. So see all the granules and all of that texture? Really, really lovely. I don't know if the camera is picking it up too well, but there's glitter in here as well, so you're going to get some sparkle too, and a little bit of shine. Kind of when you see fresh snowfall and it's got that glisten, that's sort of what that reminds me of. So then one way another way you could use this is you can just draw a little bit of, let's say you're creating a snow scene. So you can just draw a little bit of a landscape and make a nice snowy hill for your scene. And you could even build a little snowman if you want. And you could use more precise tools if you want to create something really precise, but just for demonstration purposes, you can see how fun this can be, even with like a big spatula like this, just creating a fun little snow scene and the beginnings of a snowman. So I would just need to add some arms to him. And look at like how it's holding its that texture, that thickness. So you can apply this thinly or thickly, and just depending on what look you're going for, it's going to hold all of that. I would definitely, whatever you use to apply this, there is an adhesive medium to it, so it will dry and stick. So you want to just make sure that you're either washing right away, or at the very least doing what I'm doing, which is getting some water on it and wiping it. And I'll probably just wipe this or wash this with soap and water later. But let me show you how it looks dry. So I have another one here that I prepared in advance. So it's already dry. If you take a heat gun, which you can take a heat gun to this, just be careful, because this, with too much heat applied to it, it can bubble up a little bit. So you might see some of that, and maybe that's something that you want in terms of the look to it. But I think here you can kind of see the glitter coming through against the black cardstock. See how there's like a little bit of an iridescent glitter there? How wonderful is that? And this is hard. So this is some really great dimension that you can add there. Hopefully you can kind of see how thick that is, and it's really nice. And by contrast, how it looks compared to the Deco-Topping. So two very different effects, and applied a little bit differently, but really great to have them both in your stash so that you can get all of these different looks, because this dimension is just fantastic, and it does have that texture and a little bit of shine. This has lovely, lovely texture to it. Is a little bit more matte. You don't get the glistening glitter or shine that you do with the snow gel. So nice to have the options, and you can let it dry on its own. With this one, I took a heat gun to it and got a little bit of bubbling, but I think it still overall looks really nice. And I didn't think to do the thin test, but it'll be interesting to see how that dries up. But let me go ahead and show you a couple of projects featuring these mixed media items on a final card.